Anai Wuol is one of hundreds of thousands who have fled Sudan in recent weeks, escaping the conflict which is tearing the country apart. He describes conditions in the capital, Khartoum.
The
conditions people are going through in Khartoum are extremely bad. Many want to get out, but can't do so because of the financial difficulties of finding money for transport.
Yet some of those who have already fled here to Renk in neighbouring South Sudan say the conditions are so bad they want to go back to war-torn Sudan.
It's mostly hunger that drives people to go back to Sudan. If we're provided with food, health care and tents, then there won't be any need for us to go back.
VOA spoke to others who said they planned to go back and to community leaders who said that some people have already returned to Sudan. Non-profits have complained that the $1.5 billion in humanitarian funding pledged since Sudan's war started in April represents only around half of what's needed and will cause problems in responding at scale to the crisis. Mark Wood, a programme associate at the advocacy group Refugees International, says donors are reluctant to work with unfamiliar local NGOs in Sudan and won't give them funding.
It is heavily frustrating for us in the humanitarian field and humanitarian space to see Sudan not getting as much attention as it should. But we encourage donor nations to be more flexible with their funding and to not be as stringent and to, put aside the bureaucratic red tape and be more flexible with their funding, and so that they can address what is actually happening on the ground in real time.
David Del Conte, a humanitarian and policy consultant, says the international community was not fully prepared for the intensity of the war in Sudan and the humanitarian crisis it would trigger.
That led to a rather myopic look at how much funding would be needed for the situation. I think the international community can start putting pressure on the parties, stop cutting off the income source of the parties, stop cutting off the trade routes for the parties to force the parties to the table, and that really hasn't been done in a meaningful way.
Experts also cited donor fatigue, which has been especially pronounced since the pandemic caused countries to look inwards, as well as the continuing Ukraine crisis. Henry Wilkins for VOA News, Renk, South Sudan.